Hello everyone, and welcome to our story time. Once upon a time, nestled deep in a valley, shimmering with countless golden flowers, lived a tiny red dragon named Roro. Now, Roro was the smallest dragon in the entire mountain range. He was so small you could almost mistake him for a bright red blossom. He had scales that sparkled like rubies, wings that shone like a fiery sunset, and big, curious eyes that saw the world as one giant adventure. But the most remarkable thing about Roro wasn't his size. It was his heart, which was the biggest and kindest heart in the whole valley. Every morning, as the sun peeked over the mountain peaks, Roro would watch the big dragons prepare for their daily flight. They were magnificent, with powerful wings that could catch the wind and carry them soaring high above the clouds. They would laugh and roar. Roro would run to the edge of the cliff, his little heart thumping with excitement. He'd flap his shiny orange wings as fast as he could, hopping and jumping, trying to lift off the ground. Flap, flap, flap! He'd go, but he would only manage to hover a few inches before gently plopping back down. The big dragons would sometimes look down and chuckle. Oh, look at little Roro trying to fly. But their teasing was always friendly. Roro never let their laughter discourage him. He'd puff out his chest, which made him look like a little red balloon. Take a very deep breath and declare with all his might, "Someday, I'll fly higher than all of you. I'll touch the clouds and race the eagles." He truly believed it. Even when his wings felt too small and the sky felt too big, he spent his days practicing, jumping off small rocks and trying to glide on gentle breezes, always with a determined and happy smile on his face. One particularly sunny afternoon, a change came over the peaceful valley. A gentle breeze began to whisper through the flowers, but soon that whisper grew into a roar. A powerful, gusty wind swept down from the mountains, bending the tall trees and making the golden flowers dance wildly. It was stronger than any wind Roro had ever felt before. The big dragons, caught by surprise in the sky, struggled against the current and decided to land, seeking shelter in their caves. The wind howled and whistled, a wild song of nature's power. From his little perch, Roro watched the storm unfold. Suddenly, he heard a faint, desperate chirping. He looked towards a large oak tree and saw something terrible. The strong wind had violently shaken its branches, and a small nest, home to a family of baby birds, had tumbled to the ground. The tiny, featherless chicks were scattered and crying for their mother, who was circling helplessly in the turbulent sky, unable to land. They looked so small and frightened. Roro's big heart ached for them. He knew he had to do something, and fast. Without a second thought, Roro forgot all about his flying practice. His only thought was to help the little chicks. He scurried down the rocky path as fast as his little legs could carry him. The wind pushed against him, churned to knock him over, but he was determined. He reached the scattered chicks and saw their beaks open, crying in fear. He had an idea. He carefully positioned himself in front of them and spread his small wings as wide as they could go, creating a little, warm shield to protect them from the harsh, cold wind. He stood his ground, firm and steady, like a tiny, brave knight. As he stood there, shielding the baby birds, something truly magical began to happen. A warm feeling spread through his chest, a feeling of courage and love. It flowed from his heart all the way to the tips of his wings. His wings began to glow, first a soft orange, then a brilliant, fiery red, shining as brightly as a blazing fire. The glow grew stronger and stronger, pulsing with a gentle heat. The little chicks huddled closer, feeling the warmth and safety. Then, with a great surge of energy, the wind caught his glowing wings. But this time, instead of pushing him down, it lifted him up. Whoosh! Roro rose into the air. He wasn't just hovering, he was flying. He gasped in surprise as he looked down at the ground, getting smaller and smaller. It felt incredible, like he was being carried on a soft, invisible cloud. He instinctively flapped his glowing wings, and with each flap, he went higher and higher. He wasn't struggling anymore. He was dancing with the wind. The big dragons, who were watching from their caves, couldn't believe their eyes. Their jaws dropped in amazement. "Look!" one of them shouted, pointing a large claw. Roro is flying. Cheers erupted from the caves. They roared with delight and pride for their little friend. Roro heard their cheers and his heart swelled with joy. He looked down, saw the chicks were safe, and then looked up at the vast blue sky that was now his playground. He did a joyful loop-the-loop, his red glow lighting up the sky. He smiled the widest smile of his life and shouted back to them. Voice full of triumph. I told you I could do it." From that day forward, no one in the valley ever called him the little red dragon again. He had proven that size didn't matter at all. What mattered was the size of your courage and your kindness. They gave him a new name, a name he had earned with his bravery. Everyone, from the oldest dragon to the tiniest field mouse, called him Roro the Brave the Dragon, whose heart was even bigger and more powerful than his wings. And every time he flew, his wings would glow with that beautiful red light.